or for as good as Burnley have been in attacking, are some players just a bit greedy? That's our main viewpoint this week on Where Clarets Walk. Welcome to episode 19. We're also talking about some fans want to sell Koleosho in January. They've had enough of him. Get your viewpoints on that. The atmosphere at Turf Moor we're going to talk about, and who are the best fans to have visited the famous old stadium this season. We've got Dan and Jordan back with us, and welcome making his debut this week. The legend of Twitter Clarets is Connor, who's joining us as well. So welcome, Connor.
Stop it.
Right. Thank you for all your love as well. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We really like all your comments on this 20 minutes of Burnley chat. Let's jump straight into it, shall we? Jordan, let's start with you this week. We've called Scott Parker boring and Burnley boring and Middlesbrough exciting, but the stats this week highlight that in that game, you had the more shots. You had the more shots, well, similar shots on targets, and actually you had far more of the possessions. So, of those sides, Burnley were the more entertaining, weren't they?
Oh, but by far, I'd be quite honest with you. I had butterflies before kick-off. I thought, oh no, I know what's going to happen here. I honestly thought we were going to get hammered about 3-0. Personally, I thought that, especially when I saw CJ were in the squad. And then from kick-off, I just thought, this is a different squad. I haven't seen this squad play yet. I haven't seen them, they gelled. It were almost past perfect, dare I say, for the first 45 minutes. Still, something to be desired up front, but fantastic play. And like I said, Scott Parker is cooking, let him cook.
Dan, we haven't really seen Burnley too much as a defensive unit because teams don't really get a chance to have a go. But we did on Friday, and I got to say, I was impressed. Were you?
I'm going to be controversial and say no. I thought we were as vulnerable as we've ever been on Friday. I think certainly second half, they had 2 or 3, if not 4, clear chances, which is something we've never given away before. I thought it was unusual for us, and I know it's going to be controversial, but they had a free kick, which they could have scored from. They were 1-on-1, which Trafford makes a good save. They have a couple of chances where one guy cuts it back and he knocks it gently towards Trafford. I think it's been the most exposed we've ever been, and possibly because CJ was taken out of the team, possibly because of various other things. But in saying that, we kept him quiet enough that kept him to half chances, but there were a few chances there. So I'm going to have to weirdly disagree with you for once. I don't think we were as solid as we've been.
Yeah, you travel the country. You've watched every single minute of every single game. Connor, welcome to Where Clarets Walk. We have a look at some tweets, if that's okay. Connor, Ace says, we did 2 opportunities in the second half, not taken. Hannibal not playing in Anthony, and then Anthony not playing in Brownhill. It won't show on the stats, but we had 2 easy passes ignored and would have really been good goal-scoring opportunities. And there were lots of other people saying, look, we're too greedy sometimes. Some players don't make the best of the opportunities that they're given. They should look up and just the pass is on and they take the shot themselves. Do you agree at times that some players, especially the front ones, are a little bit self-centered?
Yeah. Sometimes I do think when in hindsight, realistically, he should have gone for that pass to Brownhill, Anthony to Brownhill. He should have made that. But I think in the moment, I think he was in all right to take on the shot, because either you made that pass and if Brownhill misses it, then fans complain about Anthony not taking on the shot. Anthony takes on the shot, well, they complain he's not took it to Brownhill. I think it's a debate that you're not going to win whatever answer you give, and it's frustrating, yeah. But I thought we were the best we've ever been against Boro.
Okay, let's look at some more then, shall we? This one is a little bit on the attack. It says, Jordan, Bashir Humphreys out now. Anthony benched and Koleosho in the reserves until he learns to pass and then shoot. I don't care if we have to have under 18 players. Play them instead if you have to. Play Redmond. Hannibal sub and only on to stir it up. Definitely not relied on to come back. Lots to unpick here. Let's start with Bashir Humphreys, who wasn't the only one to mention his performance. We'll get on to Koleosho in a minute. How do you react to that, Jordan?
I just think it's a little bit fickle, personally. It's like some people act like you can't make a slight error. You know what I mean? Like, what are they perfect as well? You know, that might be a bit controversial. Bashir Humphries has been fantastic up until that one mistake he made, and then after that, I thought he rectified. Yeah, we're a little bit lazy, a little bit sloppy, but we all have a chance like that. And he rectified it. Putting Corley in the reserves, I mean, come on, man. Come on, I think they've got too used to VK ball where we turned up, we did teams 4 or 5-0, and people are way too used to that. But that isn't Burnley, that was once. And if you're going to expect that every time, then you're following the wrong football club, personally.
About Hannibal, Dan. Jordan says, I'm sorry for people who disagree, but Hannibal is simply awful. He offers absolutely nothing on the ball and is a walking yellow card. I really don't see anything that he offers for 9 million beyond winding opposition fans up a few times a season. Okay, discuss, Dan.
Discuss. No, I don't mind him, actually. I think he is a bit of a wind-up merchant. I think he is one of those who will go and try and get his foot in and getting the opposition players who try and ruffle them up, kind of like Ashley Barnes did, you know, in his heyday. I think he's more than that. I think there are signs where he's a decent footballer. I can't remember if it was him or somebody else who had the opportunity to pass it on Friday and we could have scored with it. So it's easy to criticise one mistake like the guy did with Humphries, who was caught out of position. I think Hannibal, I don't think he's a 90-minute player. I think he's either an impact sub or he's there for the first 60 minutes. I don't think he can do a full 90. I think he offers more than that guy suggests. I don't think he's just a wind-up merchant. I think he has that energy. He puts himself about. He breaks up play. He does that stuff that's kind of unsung. Yeah, he's not the most creative player and he's not going to get you 10 goals. He's not. But I think he offers more than just, you know, a name. I think he's better than that.
Okay. Koleosho was a name we discussed last week. But again, he's coming up and his performances have really angered some people, particularly in this game, Connor. Just get Koleosho sold in January and get someone ready-made into the team. His inexperienced, reckless decision-making costs this team far too often. I'm tired of it. It's not the first time we've heard that sort of sentiment being made about a Koleosho performance. Connor, again, is this too reactionary or have these people got a point?
It's a tricky one because I thought he started off the season really well, coming back from injury. You know, like that goal against Leeds, I thought his career's looking on the up here. I think, you know, he can do quite a lot this season. But actually, I do think he's not been up to scratch personally from what I've seen. I just find he runs into men way too easily. He's not. I honestly don't see what he offers personally. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, Jordan.
See, I'd be on the contrary of that massively. You know, you've got to remember he's just turned 20 years old. He's obviously got the ability. We've seen that. You know how he started against City last season. He's a work in progress, and to just throw out, okay, like, let's say we sell him there, we get 20 million for him. Let's just say, and then in a year or two's time, he's an absolute world beater in the Italian starting lineup. Have we not just dropped 40 million there? It's worth taking the chance. And you can't judge him on, he's not an end product. He's fast at the minute. Once we've worked him, once we've sharpened him, he's a different player.
Dan, settle this for us.
I'm going to have to give it to Jordan on points. I agree with Connor. I can see why people are frustrated with him. I really, really can, because he does run down blind alleys. He does give the ball away. There's a few times on Friday night, he did a lot of really good work defensively. He wins the ball back, and then he just pissed about with it. Sorry for swearing. But he then messes about with it, and then we lose it, and then he almost gives us a chance away. So I get people's frustration with him, but I am very much more in Jordan's camp that if you give him time, give him the right coaching, I think he could be a superstar. I really do. I think he's got the pace, he's got the talent, he's got the ability, but he just needs... You know, this might be his transition season. Like you say, we could flog him in January. We could easily make loads of money on him because I don't think we bought him for an awful lot. I think we could regret it in years to come. But I'm still very much give him time, give him the chance.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that game there then for 1 second. We'll talk about the atmosphere in a second. It's a big week for Burnley, though, this week. 2 games. I'm recording this, of course, before the Derby game. you play Derby at home. Meanwhile, Leeds play Boro, so they're going to drop points. Someone, and Sheffield United have to go to Millwall, which is a tough place to go. So this could be the fixture where Burnley just catch up at the top, plus Norwich away, who are awful at the moment on Sunday. So I mean, Connor, this could be a really big week for Burnley if you play it right, couldn't it?
It's a big chance for us to show what we really can do, and I just think treat Derby like an ordinary game. Don't think about what could happen. We could go top. I've not really checked on it, but just give it our all. Just let's just pace them. Let's show the league what we can do.
Okay, all right. The atmosphere at Turf Moor. Then I just want to ask you about Jordan. People were saying they enjoyed the Boro game not just for the opposition, but actually because Boro brought someone loud. That meant that the Burnley fans themselves had to be loud. On TV, it came across as a good atmosphere. Obviously, you were there. Was that a good atmosphere in comparison to what it's been like this season?
So, it's that age-old argument. I think we were having this at the start of the season and towards the back end of last season. I honestly believe, and I do stand by this, people walk onto the turf nowadays expecting us to turn teams over, right? And just regardless of who it is, 4 or 5-0, like again under company. And because that isn't happening, it feels like it's leaving something to be desired. Now, I think you've got to get behind the lads anyway. When you get behind them, they play better. Simple as you are there, 12 man. You're so close to them. It's an old style football ground, but that is why the turf is so quiet, because they're expecting us to turn up and turn teams over, and it's just not happening.
Dan, is it surprised you just how poor the atmosphere's been this season?
It has. I agree to an extent with what Jordan's saying. I think that expectations kind of flatten the atmosphere. That being said, the last couple of games, certainly on Friday night and then the week before when we were playing, because you see that desire in the players, and because we're now improving under Parker from where we were 3 or 4 weeks ago, the fans are reacting to it. If you want us to cheer and give us something to cheer about, then play it and give us something to cheer about. And even when we went 1-0 down against Boro, there was that chance 3 weeks ago. We go 1-0 down. It's like, oh, bloody hell, that's it. What on earth are we doing on here? Boo and all that. Well, it wasn't that. We were 1-0 down, and we thought, actually, the fans didn't turn. They backed them, and the Boro fans were reacting to it as well. And because we saw players playing for the shirt, players playing well, it wasn't necessarily boring backwards football. It was actually more progressive. You saw the atmosphere lift, and there was belief behind them, which is something that's been lacking this season. So I was quite suitably impressed. This year has been a very bad atmosphere at the turf. It's not been negative, it's just been flat. Whereas on Friday, I thought, like you said, you heard it yourself on the TV with the old cans of Stella or whatever you drink. Not Stella, sorry. Apologies, Carlin. Apple juice. So, yeah, but you saw it for yourself, and it was a better atmosphere. And I think that when we scored, you saw them going over to the crowd, and it wasn't come on, it was get in, which is nice to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're talking about set pieces this week because, of course, it's all about Arsenal and how they're looking like Stoke. Connor, for you, why aren't a team of your magnitude going for the promotion? Why aren't you getting more goals from set pieces?
We just don't really look up to it. Every time it's a corner, it's just another way to get it back round to the back four and passing. I just genuinely don't see what that set piece coach brings. And he should have been sacked 2 years ago. Even under our miracle promotion season, he was absolutely dreadful, honestly.
Dan, can you put your finger on it?
I have no idea. They have started recently. On Friday they tried a few different kind of corners. They played one flat to Koleosho, who knocks it round the corner, and they have a chance. But aside from the odd one or two, they have been dreadful, and I'm not quite sure what the reason behind it is. In the beginning of the season, did O'Shea score one from a corner, and that was about it. Maybe it's the players, maybe it's the coaching, maybe it's a mix of two. But we had a free kick, which was like just outside. I think it was in the D of the box, and he just smacks it straight into the wall. I'm not sure what's gone on. I'm not sure what's gone wrong, but it needs looking at.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And finally, then, we're asking this week, because it's Christmas, the season of goodwill, of course, to name the fans that have been the best at Turf Moor so far this year. Jordan, who would you give that to?
I'm going to go for Portsmouth. I think wherever they go, they bring noise, and I've got a massive respect to. Well, you can give to Plymouth as well, respect to them. But Portsmouth, how they travel length and breadth of the country, and the team isn't the greatest per se, but their fan base is brilliant.
Okay, good show. Connor?
Yeah, Pompey or even Boro for me. Just they kept singing the whole game. I thought they were brilliant, but no, I think Pompey, just for all the travelling they do, and they get behind their team every week. It's brilliant.
Okay, well, and Dan?
Pitfalls are going last. I had the same. Not that it's University Challenge, but I had Portsmouth were brilliant given the distance they travelled, and I thought Boro were very, very good. So yeah, I agree with them both. Either of those two were very great.
All right, brilliant. Thank you all so very much. Do join us next week. We've got 2 games, of course, to review next week. And we're also talking about the 5 top players that Burnley should sign as well in January. So join us for that. Thank you, Connor. Great debut. Thank you, Dan.
Cheers.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll catch you guys next week. And don't forget, press the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. See you next week.